and welcome to Hard Copy, where we bring you the people behind the news. I'm Maokwe Ogun Yusuf. What a week it's been. Finally, all the politicking in the National Assembly came to a culmination this week, and the favorite of the All Progressives Congress were elected in both the Senate and the House of Representatives. And for the first time, Nigeria celebrated June 12 as a National Democracy Day, having moved it from May 29. There was also a presidential speech to boot. But our focus tonight is on that election that took place within the chambers of the National Assembly. One of the arrowheads of the campaign for the new speaker is our guest tonight. Honorable Abdulmumin Jibrin, who is no stranger to controversy, could be described as the comeback boy in the politics that eventually threw up Femi Gbajabiamila as Speaker of the House of Representatives. Honorable Jibrin, welcome to Hard Copy.
Thank you very much, Mokwe, and thank you for inviting me to the show.
Well, I'm sure you're still on cloud nine after your candidate emerged Speaker of the House of Representatives.
I thought you would make it a cloud 13.
Is that where you are? What did you do, though? What did you say to him that convinced him to trust you with his campaign, considering the fact that you supported his opponent in 2015?
He has also observed everything that happened between 2015 and 2019, but most importantly, we're very good friends. I wasn't friend with Tambuwal, who is like a senior brother, and the relationship has continued to be like that. For Dogara, we were neither both. We weren't particularly very close, and there is no any special relationship. But again, during the election, we connected and we worked together in 2015. But in the case of Femi, it's a different ballgame. Because
you connected with somebody whom we are not so close to, yeah, as against the person who was your friend.
Absolutely. That again, you can see a lot of events that happened that led to actually my parting ways with Femi in 2015. But he is actually my friend, so it's easier for him to follow the chains of events, for us to introspect, for us to reconnect. And that is why you see, even while I was serving my suspension, we weren't talking. But again, he came out to defend me and made a public, despite occupying the position of the majority leader of the House, came out to make the comment that my suspension is unconstitutional. So the friendship bond, it's already there, and that actually laid the foundation for trust. Then again, he also understands that I have also gone through a lot, and I have learned a lot, and I have experienced a lot, and I see things differently, being in a vantage position of seeing things within the House and outside the House. And again, by the time we start the build-up of my returning to the House, we spend a lot of time talking, reflecting, and also very important is the fact that we share a lot of things in common when it has to do with the reforms that the House or the legislature actually needs. In many of such issues, we're on the same page. So it was quite easy for us to get together again and take it off.
Well, we'll talk about the issue of trust much later. But the Speaker's emergence did not come without controversy. Some of your legislators, in the House, alleged that there was vote buying. They claim that there was a green card scheme, and they have shown pictures of the card to boot, that your people tried to buy votes. In fact, they claim that votes were eventually bought on that day, and that's how this leadership came to be. Did you buy votes with the green card scheme?
We didn't buy votes with a green
cards.
Of course.
Did you make them?
I made the green cards.
You did?
Yeah, it's a souvenir.
What were they for?
They're souvenirs.
They have chips in them.
They don't have chips. They're plastics. They're souvenirs. The normal souvenirs that politicians make.
You have one?
Look at it. I can give you one. Keep it in your keep it with you. This is one. So keep it. You have one with you.
This is what?
Read what is written on it.
No, you tell me what is written on it.
Okay, bring it. Let me help you read it.
What do you need this card for?
It's souvenirs.
Because they claim that, I listened to a member of the House of Representatives. He said this card was to be shown to be taken alongside the picture of people voting, and that they will be credited with $10,000 after the election had taken place.
Well, that is just an allegation, and it's a figment of their own imagination, and I have not had any official comment to that effect. So the explanation I'm providing is for Nigerians to know that this is just, and that is why I've given you one for keeps. You can also go and place it.
I'm going to return it right back to you.
We're all celebrating
I'm not a member
Femi. We're celebrating the man who is coming to be the best speaker. You have to show this to your kids.
No, you are celebrating him. You're allowed to celebrate.
It has the name of Femi.
Him. Yes.
It has the name of Femi, as you can see.
Yes.
And his deputy Wasi.
Yes.
It has the logo of all parties in the house, showing that it's a cross party.
Where is the logo?
It's a cross party. Let me show you.
Okay, this is it.
Look at it.
Okay.
Beautiful logo.
I have seen that.
APP, of ABGA.
Yes, but why does it have to be in form of a credit card?
Design. It's just design. Value, you know, you love your,
not that you're trying to
love your
promise them something through this means.
Look, you see, we were very organized. We ran a very organized campaign. We had a situation room. We had people who have something upstairs. So we said, what do people value? What are we going to do as a souvenir to make people hold this? Look at it beautiful, look at it something different.
Well, you heard that allegation about people. I mean, I think there was some debate before the voting started where some members were saying that they shouldn't come in with their phones because they figured that was how the vote buying was going to be perpetrated. You heard that, didn't you?
But they've never stopped anybody from going into this is not an exam, a JAM exam or SSC exam or NACO exam where you
INEC has stopped people from taking their phones to the polling booth. INEC has.
But this is not an election organized by INEC.
Okay, but that means you cannot dismiss it. I mean, you definitely cannot dismiss it.
Completely dismissed.
I'm not going to push it forward because, I mean, we have no proof other than this card which you have shown to us now. But I'm going to ask you, what is the reward this time for you? Then in 2015, yes, what's in it for you? Don't tell me there's nothing.
Unfair question.
Because,
reward.
Yes,
why should you call
because
it reward?
In 2015, you were given what was considered the choicest committee in the House of Representatives, House of, the Appropriations Committee.
Yes.
What's in it for you this time?
Well, the amazing thing is that people have asked me more of what I will be, what I want, or what I will be given, much more than what you guys intend to do to change the face of the parliament. So I think the conversation should move on to what are our plans? What is the speaker bringing on board? Now I'll answer your question. You know I'm a straight talker, so I'm not trying to dodge. I can see your content.
Honorable, I cannot say if you're a straight talker. I mean, we'll come to that. As I said, we'll come to the issue of trust again. But if people are asking you what's in it for you, don't they have a valid reason to ask? Well,
I have been very lucky, very fortunate to have held the two most senior, if you can say, committees in the House, Chairman Finance and simultaneously Chairman Appropriations. I used to tell people that it is probably much easier to be the Speaker of the House than to be Chairman Finance, then Chairman Appropriations.
I'm glad that you admit that, not all committees are equal, that some committees are more equal than some. Some people deny it outright. They want to, what do we mean by juicy committees? Because people usually describe these committees as juicy committees.
Well, even our fingers are not equal. So why are you surprised?
So you admit that some
I'm actually
some
surprised that you are surprised.
No, I'm just saying that you admit that some committees are juicy. Is that what you're admitting?
We don't know. I don't call it. I never address it as juicy committee. And I think that is actually a bit of a junk, street language that they say it's a junk.
Perhaps it's
a juicy committee. But the reality of the matter is that I've held these two important positions, and really, there's no much left in the parliament, and my heart is to serve, and so I'm not fixated to anything.
So you're not asking for anything?
I am not asking for anything, and I am not contesting for anything. And because you know that the contest is still on, there are 4 offices that are going to be contested for, even though that is largely a it's a product of consultation, much more than election. But again, even at that, I'm not
not even a majority leader.
I'm telling you this, I'm not in a contest.
Okay, well, if you say so. I'm just wondering now, you said your party should come out with a zoning formula, didn't you say so? You say that if they didn't, there'll be consequences. Was this what you wanted to see with the leadership of the National Assembly? The zone, in the manner in which the leadership roles have been zoned. Was this what you wanted to see?
Believe me, I'm not a spokesman for the party or the government, but let me tell you this. The party, the government, the president, the party chairman, the Progressive Governors Forum, then even governors across parties and our leaders and stakeholders across the country did excellently. And this is the picture of the leadership of National Assembly that we've always wanted to see. And let me tell you this, Mokwe, and I will come back to this, to your program again and ask you, didn't I tell you this? You will see how much changes would happen in the National Assembly within the shortest possible time.
I'm curious, the Southeast has been left holding the short end of the stick.
Yeah.
Do you think your party has been fair to the Southeast?
It hasn't been left. I've tried to explain this severally, that there are 6 positions in the Senate and there are 6 in the House of Representatives. And the Southeast will get its fair share within the leadership position in the Senate, and they will get a position within the principal officers in the House. So in the Senate, they will end up with one of the 4, leader, deputy whip, or deputy whip. Likewise in the House. And don't also forget that this thing extends to the executive arm of government. So I am sure that, of course, if there's any area where there need to be adjustment, or rather to realign things so that everybody will have that sense of belonging, the executive arm of government has a lot of instrument of reward to be able to get that done. But let me also add, this is important, thank you so much. Let me also add that the challenge that the Southeast they had much more than anything else is the fact that they weren't able to produce sufficient members from the APC family. So they have one member, and the lady in Kiruka, I hold her in high esteem, that it's qualified. So there's really no so much of an option, like the case of the Southwest, where the party say we are zoning to the Southwest, then they had so many members, and from them they look at the competence, everything, and they choose the firm. I think that's also contributed.
When I'm talking about the zone, I'm talking about the zoning formula for your party. I'm not just talking about the leadership of the National Assembly. I'm also talking about the leadership in general, from the president, vice president, speaker, deputy speaker, and Senate president, or president of the Senate now, and deputy president of the Senate. Those are the primary roles that people are looking at, and perhaps maybe even the chief justice of the country. People don't usually talk about the principal officers within the National Assembly. In those roles, the Southeast has been left holding the short end of the stick. You don't agree?
Yeah, the problem has been, and you've just stated it now, the problem has always been that people do not look at the other positions, and they're there. And so for the first time, we are reminding Nigerians that there are these other 4 positions here and there. And for some reason, the narrative has been so twisted in such a way that people are made to believe that on that first presiding officer and the deputy is decided, there is nothing again. But let me also try to see if I can go back to what I have explained, because again, my focus it's a lot of reforms that we're bringing aboard. For us, the zoning is fair, and no one has been shortchanged. I'm sure you're talking about the president coming from the Northwest, the vice president of Southwest, the speaker going to southwestern part of the country, and that again repeatedly it's becoming monotonous, because we've explained it over and over again that where you have an agitation, it's the case of the gentlemen who are contesting from the North Central, because we need to be careful now. And by the way, I'm not talking on behalf of the House. I'm not talking about on behalf of Femi's campaign. This is my personal opinion, because we've passed that. We have one house now, and campaign has been dissolved. So I don't want to offend anyone, because all of them have been magnanimous in, they've shown grace and magnanimity in, of course, victory and, of course, the defeat. So the North Central are saying, give us the speaker, because the Southwest cannot have the vice president, and of course, combine it with the speaker. And we are saying the North already have the president and the Senate president, and it would be unfair to take the speaker and give to the North. So push the speaker to the southern part of the country. Then again, they reverse the argument that, oh, okay, if it goes to the southern part of the country, why are you putting it all in the Southwest? And we are saying, which is less expensive for the political system? Is it to bring the 3 to the North, or to balance it 2 North, 2 South, and the one for the South goes to a particular region, since we do not have so much options about those who will contest for the office from the southeastern part of the country. But again, what we did, and it's important I tell you this, on the build-up to the election day, we're able to reach out to members from the southeastern part of the country under the leadership of Pat Asadu. And we sat with them and discussed with them extensively. It wasn't an issue.
Did they accept?
Yeah. It wasn't an issue of committee sharing. There are quite a lot of issues they brought in, the development of the southeastern part of the country.
I'm afraid I have to take a break now.
Thank you.
We take a moment now. When we return, I did tell you that Honorable Jibrin is no stranger to controversy. He was suspended in the 8th Assembly over allegations he made that the 2016 budget was padded. What changes will he be looking to see in the 9th Assembly? In a moment, please stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Hard Copy, coming to you from our studios in Abuja. Our guest tonight is Honorable Abdulmumin Jibrin, and we're talking about politics in the National Assembly. Just quickly, if you can, would you tell us what the House now means by running an open House, now that you have elected a new Speaker? Just quickly, if you can.
Well, thank you very much. Let me just give 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds background. On a first sitting, usually after the election is not much of a concern like the day after the election. And in most cases, when you look at history, the day after the election is usually very, very, lot of confrontation, lot of fight and the rest, because there will be anger, the person who won, the person who lost, and the rest. So while we're also running our campaign, we're also conscious of the day after election. The election is on the 11th. There was a holiday on the 12th, so we're thinking about what happens on the 13th. So we're guided by that, since we've got a bit of experience to understand that. And we're able to manage on the 13th. 13th was peaceful. Now the Speaker, after the session, we had an executive session where he marshaled out his plans. And everybody left nodding his head that now we have a Speaker.
You have 30 seconds left on that question.
He sat, and first he brought everyone on the same page, emphasizing the fact that it's now one House. There is no side meetings. There's no political party affiliation. He's a Speaker for all.
There will still be caucus meetings, wouldn't there?
Yeah, of course. You understand the context that I'm talking about, not that caucus meetings are not going to take place. So he instructed the closing down of all platforms that have party affiliations, and one is going to, as usual tradition, we're going to have one that is going to be for the entire House. Then, of course, we have this tradition of victory party, and it is so important to members to have that victory party. The Speaker shocked everyone. He cancelled. I thought that's going to make a headline.
That is for the House. For Nigerians who voted members, they don't really care about this politics.
I was going to.
What can they look forward to?
I'm actually going to come to. I'm actually going to come to that. Absolutely.
You have 1 minute to address that.
Okay, I will. I will within a minute. So he cancelled that because of waste of resources, etc. That has been put aside. Thirdly, he set up, because sometimes you look at when we come in, it takes a week, 2 weeks to set up the standing committees that will prepare the takeoff of the House. You know what he did? Right in that session, he set up the selection committee, set up the business and rule committee, set up the media committee, set up the welfare committee. These are standing ad hoc committees that must be constituted to facilitate the smooth takeoff of the House. And usually it takes weeks, days, politics and the rest. And he said, no, let's do it here, and nobody's going to leave here until I get set up, because I want the House to start working today. Now, the next thing he is going to do in the next few days, you will see the Speaker going physically.
Honorable, I'm afraid we have to move to the next question. I'm afraid we have to move to the next question. You were suspended for a year over allegations you made against the leadership, saying that the budget had been padded. You did deny that there was anything called budget padding. This was a previous interview we had with you. You denied that anything sort of budget padding could even take place. But subsequently, you came back to say that indeed the budget had been padded. And that led to, and that was after you had fallen out with the leadership. One, why should Nigerians believe you now on anything that you say? Especially since you have had a vote to face on something as important as the budget.
And what is more of an evidence that Nigerians trust me, Nigerians believe me, than what happened on the 11th, where I have spent 3 months. That was within
if the
Nigerians
house.
will believe
that was
me,
within the house.
If Nigerians will believe me when I tell them that so person has these qualities to be speaker, and members should vote
you were not campaigning to Nigerians, were you?
To support him.
The generality of
the
Nigerians
members are a product of who? The members are product of Nigeria.
But you
they didn't come by themselves.
You didn't raise those allegations again, did you?
And mind you,
yes.
Mind you, even the speakership campaign is also channeled directly to members of the general public, because they also have the opportunity to influence their members to vote in a particular way. So the issue of trust or no trust, I think we've passed that. And I believe that for Nigerians to actually vote Femi, they trust what we are telling them. I think, Mope, we should look forward. Now that we've had the opportunity.
The issues of budget parting, do you think they can rear their head again? And how do you think, what do you hope to see in terms of transparency with how the budget is finally passed within the National Assembly?
Well, some of the areas where the Speaker wants to lay emphasis is also budget. And one of the things that you are going to see is a committed effort from the Speaker, and he's going to put all his energy to return the budget cycle.
What should we be looking out to see if indeed there's going to be transparency in terms of how things are conducted?
I will answer, but if you give me time to talk.
I'm listening to you, Honorable.
Yeah. So I'm trying to tell you that he is committed to returning the budget cycle to January, December budget cycle, reforming the process of how the budgeting process is being conducted, instituting all the necessary checks and balances, and these are thoughts that he's always had.
Those are very broad topics. I mean, in terms of specifics, when the numbers eventually come out, when they leave the executive and go to the National Assembly, when it's eventually passed by the National Assembly, what should Nigerians be looking out to say, indeed, this has been done transparently and there has been no padding?
But you won't even allow me to answer.
I'm listening to you, Honorable.
But you won't allow me to answer. Okay, now I was explaining to you that some of the things that he wants to introduce, like the electronic voting system, as simple as you will see the electronic voting system, is one of the most important reforms that the National Assembly actually needs. I know that the Speaker shares that sentiment, and he feels very deeply about the electoral voting system. And I know that during the campaign, one of the discussions we've had is that he wants to take that courageous move to see that he institutes it. And do you know the direct correlation?
They do not vote.
Do you know the direct correlation?
Just a moment.
I want to tell you the correlation between the budgets.
I understand, but they do not vote on the budget. They come to the larger committee of the whole to vote after the appropriations committee must have sat on it and they've collated a number of figures, from the other committees. What should we be looking to see from then on before it is finally brought to the committee of the whole and the figures are just passed, almost ceremoniously? The Speaker is just banging his hammer at the end of the day. The real work has been done behind the scenes. How do we know that the work that has been done behind the scenes has been done transparently in the favor of all Nigerians?
Well, again, let me say, if you allow me to talk, I will explain the whole of this thing.
Honorable, but you're not being specific. Right now, you're answering me broad. You're giving me broad-based answers.
This is the first time in an interview I'll be questioned that I'm not being specific. I'm very specific.
Okay, specifically.
Now, the issue of budget. When you complete the budget and you take it to the floor of the House, the tradition at the moment is that votes are carried out. But when votes are carried out, who takes responsibility for the vote? Because you don't know who votes for or who votes against it. By the time you now have an electronic voting system, if something is found wrong in the budget, at least you know that at the end of the day, Nigerians will be able to say Mr. ABC voted and agreed to pass this budget. But Mr. C, D, E, F voted against it. So that singular reform of introducing electronic voting system will solve a lot of problems. When a president brings a communication to the National Assembly of funding for security or bills for anti-corruption and the rest, the whole world will be looking at the end of the day when the votes are casted, who voted for or who voted against.
Are members in support of that? Because oftentimes you understand that members, they themselves do not want that particular change.
Well, we've just been inaugurated, and I have told you that the first meeting was held yesterday, and it was a very successful meeting. The Speaker has set the stage clear, and he has gingered members, and everybody is on board, and he's asked everybody to tighten up his belt because it's going to be walk. As I've just mentioned to you, he'll be going around the constituency to see for his eyes in the next few days. Physical assessment. This is not I say. You will see Femi, but the speaker, I'm used to saying Femi, the speaker, House of Representatives, will be going to constituency, to see constituency office, to see how you conduct town hall meetings, to see how projects are being implemented, to weigh your relationship and your constituents. And he will come back and profile and make a report that will be a product of a wide range of reforms that will be
It's a fine place to leave it, Honorable. We totally are out of time. Thank you for coming on Hard Copy.
This program is so short.
It is. Well, that's the program tonight. But we always look forward to listening to what you have to say. Send us a comment or two on hardcopy@channelstv.com or use our Twitter handle @CityTV Hardcopy. Thank you for watching. I'm Maokwe Ogun Yusuf. See you next time.